Even though Marvel's Spider-Man 2 released last month, we already have a bunch of information to go over about the final game in the trilogy, Marvel's Spider-Man 3. So today, I'm going to break down all the story details that we learned so far from the end of Spider-Man 2 and from interviews by creative director Brian Intihar and the narrative team of the game, as well as breaking down the biggest Easter egg we got that is setting up Spider-Man 3 to be a true classic. So if you learned something cool from this video, hit the like button so it gets shared to more people, but if you weren't satisfied, change it to a dislike. I want to first start from the beginning, which is basically when Spider-Man 2 ends. This part in particular caused a lot of drama in the Spider-Man community, with some fans threatening to boycott Spider-Man 3. Once the story ends, Peter, Miles, and MJ meet at Aunt May's house in Queens, where Peter tells Miles that he needs to take a step back from being Spider-Man and instead be Peter Parker for a while. Miles at this point is fully capable of being New York's main Spider-Man, so he agrees. Peter, however, tells us he'll be back, so the idea fans had that he won't appear in Spider-Man 3 is insane, especially with what's about to happen. And you know what? Peter needs that break. He's got a nearly $5,000 per month mortgage he's behind on. He got fired from his teaching job for abandoning students during a crisis, and his science job literally blew up in his face. Mary Jane finally moved in with him, but she quit her job at the Bugle. Peter needs to figure out money before he worries about stopping car thieves. And one way to make that process easier for Peter that will also save him and MJ money is if they use today's sponsor, Factor. Factor is the actual #1 best ready-to-eat meal kit in America, offering a mind-blowing 30+ dietitian designed meal options every week. Their world-class chefs do all the work, which is perfect for me because I hate cooking but love eating. So Factor allows me to focus on gaming and Peter to keep healing the world. You get fresh, never frozen meals delivered right to your door, ready to heat and eat in 2 minutes. No prep, no mess. We're talking restaurant quality, chef crafted meals here with a variety of customizable options like keto and vegan. I love the peace of mind of knowing whenever I'm hungry, I'll have a delicious and unique meal waiting for me, like this awesome green pepper and beef casserole I'm stuffing my face with right now. Plus, Factor is more budget friendly than restaurants and food delivery apps. It's a win-win for your stomach and your wallet. This could help Mary Jane focus on her podcast and Peter on his new startup without stressing over whose turn it is to cook. So if you're ready to eat like a hero, head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code DURAG50 to get 50% off your first box. Now, even though Peter has food handled, he's still going to need a lot more help with what's about to be coming for him. And that help arrived during one of the post-credit scenes where Miles finally got to meet his mom's mystery boyfriend, and it turned out to be the father of Cindy Moon, aka the Silk Spider. Insomniac's writers confirmed their intention of bringing her into their universe as a new spider hero, with the reason they chose her over Gwen Stacy being their desire to be unique. It's the same reason they chose to introduce Mr. Negative as a villain in Spider-Man PS4. They like the idea of elevating great characters that many fans may not know about, and they also like to do the unexpected that fits their story, such as making Harry Venom instead of Eddie Brock. So just like Marvel's Spider-Man 2, Spider-Man 3's title will be reflective of the amount of playable spider heroes, with Peter, Miles, and Cindy all being available. We'll likely see Cindy before then, however, in a direct sequel to Miles Morales, which the ending of the game sets up perfectly. Peter taking a break gives them a narrative reason to not have him playable in the game, and it lets players get properly introduced to Cindy, so we're able to hit the ground running in Marvel's Spider-Man 3 instead of having to spend extra time on her origin. Silk will probably have her comic origin dramatically altered since Insomniac is making a family-friendly game here, but I expect they will at least keep her unique spider sense, which is more powerful than what Peter and Miles have, and basically lets her kinda see the future, but it's also less reliable. So what threat will they face? It's definitely going to be bigger than just Green Goblin. The end of the Insomniac Spider-Man games so far have directly set the stage for the sequels. The post-credit scene of Spider-Man PS4 confirmed they would be adapting the symbiote storyline, and the post-credit scene of Miles showed they were ready to kick it off while also teasing one of the game's main villains, the Lizard. Spider-Man 2 is no different and sets up more than both. Like the previous games, Harry Osborn is basically in a coma with Norman running experiments to help him. His father confirms in the hospital room they're finishing up a certain formula that fans will recognize as the one that turns you into Green Goblin. The plan is to use it on Harry to hopefully heal his illness and wake him up. This is potentially setting up Harry to be the villain again, but I believe Insomniac has something more interesting planned. Everyone expects Norman to be the Green Goblin, and I think Insomniac delivers this time around, especially since Norman has a narrative reason to now. He hates both Spider-Man and wants to destroy them because he blames them for Harry being in a coma, to the point he goes to the raft to visit his enemy Dr. Octavius in order to get their secret identities. Norman could take the formula because he's tired of being too weak to do anything and to test it on himself before giving it to Harry, but I believe Harry will be involved again as well, only instead of the formula making him Green Goblin, it'll turn him into the Hobgoblin. Harry has been the Hobgoblin before, but he's not always a villain. They could adapt the storyline and make him another enemy of the Spider Heroes, but based on what Insomniac did in Spider-Man 2, it would make more sense and be more emotionally impactful to have Harry be the Hobgoblin and help Peter, Miles, and Cindy bring down Norman. They're going to need all the help they can get based on what Dr. Octavius is planning. As I mentioned, Norman visits him in the raft to get Peter and Miles' identities and gets rejected, but the mad scientist also mentions a master plan he's been working on to get his revenge once and for all, which he teases as a final chapter. Final Chapter is an absolutely insane storyline that debuted in 1998 and cannot possibly be fully adapted by Insomniac based on what they've set up so far. But Insomniac doesn't really do direct adaptations anyway. They take pieces from the comics and make it their own, like flipping the Eddie Brock anti-Venom storyline and making it so Martin Lee heals Peter from being consumed by the symbiote, which turns him into the anti-Venom. One example of this is in the original Final Chapter story. Aunt May gets revived, which creative director Brian Intihar confirmed is absolutely not happening. Peter and MJ also already have a daughter, though that could be something they set up with MJ being pregnant at the start of the game or something, and that would let us know they're planning on bringing May Parker into the universe. The basic setup is that Norman Osborn makes a phone call and sets up a meeting with what is called the Gathering of the Five, a collective of shady individuals which include Molten Man and Madam Web, who tricks Peter into helping her get an artifact she needs in order to join. Norman needs 5 people to bring special artifacts in order to perform a ritual that basically acts as a magic roulette wheel that will hand out both gifts and curses. Each member of the 5 will get either power, knowledge, immortality, madness, or death. Norman is the Green Goblin in this storyline, and he intends to use a gift to unalive Peter Parker once and for all. Unfortunately, he gets the gift of madness and is ultimately defeated. Insomniac will have to modify this whole thing in many ways to make this work. Dr. Octavius is the one who would be gathering the 5 in a way similar to assembling the Sinister Six. It makes sense for him to be seeking a gift in order to heal his illness. They may also avoid the mystical elements altogether and make this about Octavius gathering villains who want to bring down Spider-Man to help him escape, such as Chameleon, who appeared during one of the side missions where you were investigating Kraven. Creative director Brian Intihar compared Spider-Man PS4 to Iron Man and Spider-Man 2 to Civil War in regards to how he views the stories. It says Spider-Man 3 is basically Endgame. That means I expected to get much darker than even Spider-Man 2, with the combination of the Gathering 5 with Green Goblin potentially forcing Peter into early retirement when it's all said and done. There's also the issue of Carnage. He was set up at the end of the Flame mission chain, and it appears that story will be followed up on in DLC, especially since Tony Todd is confirmed to have a 2024 project with Spider-Man voice actors Yuri and Najee Jeter, so it wouldn't surprise me if he was hired to play Carnage in addition to Venom. But they could also use the DLC to pay off all the Daredevil teases they've been dropping and save Carnage for the 3rd game. Another character we could potentially see involved with Spider-Man 3 is Wolverine. Brian Intihar confirmed they avoided a Wolverine crossover for Spider-Man 2 because they wanted to let Wolverine cook first, but that game will already have been released by the time we get Marvel Spider-Man 3, so that puts a team up on the table, which would definitely make Spider-Man 3 live up to the Avengers Endgame comparison Brian made. We actually just got a huge update about that game, which I talk about in the next video on screen. And thank you once again to Factor for sponsoring this video. Head to factor75.com or click the link below and use code DURAG50 to get 50% off your first box.